This is now recorded.
Yeah, this is such a tricky question. The dark and the light.
I got some questions for you, okay?
Great.
So the first question is, what brings you out of bed in the morning?
Usually, it's to start work early or get my day going early. Whether it's the weekend or the weekday, I usually get up around the same time. And it's just to have more time in that day.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you mean, like, brings you out of bed? Like, a vibe, like the excitement for life, or for
Just
instance?
a general question.
For instance?
Yeah.
I think I like having a sacred time in the morning. So I like to get up when it's quiet in the city, when it's quiet outside, and have time to meditate or do yoga or make tea and just be quiet in my body, in my mind. Because as soon as the day starts going, it's full on. It doesn't stop until I'm back in the evening. And so it's kind of an excitement to have some peace, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just keep on asking the questions.
Do it.
What is success for you?
Oh gosh. Yeah, this is such a tricky question because it's never monetary, it's never positional. Success is so much so about happiness, contentment, joy, and when you are feeling the things in life that really make it meaningful. Mm-hmm. So to think about like a successful moment for me would be when I've felt in total equilibrium, blissful, joyous, happy. I think those are the moments in which I feel like, yes, this is when. And usually those moments are when I'm focusing on what I enjoy, whether it's yoga or being with family or very close friends or loved ones. And in those moments, when I make time for that, is when I feel this is success. Like this is what I reach for.
Because this is for me very interesting, because a lot of other people would just say you're very successful in your position, in what you do, and how you do it, and so everybody's have their own position of success, and so it's very interesting to know what is still for you.
Yeah, I don't view those things necessarily as successful, and to be honest, I'd probably be more critical of myself in those positional things, like if I'm feeling low one day, I might think I'm not doing enough, being enough, but when I'm really honest with myself and feeling balanced, none of that outside, like my job and everything like that, doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Like in life, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, you give up everything and then you're happy, but more that the real essence of why you are happy doesn't have to do with your money or your job or your position. In fact, sometimes that can impact it negatively. I don't consider those things my success by any means. But
Good. Next question is about making decisions. How do you take difficult decisions? Because as a businesswoman, you're gonna have a lot of decisions to make.
Yeah.
How do you take these difficult decisions?
It's going to sound a little bit silly, maybe, I don't know, but intuition always first. Always intuition first. I fact check after.
Okay.
But I take and weight very heavily whatever my gut says.
Okay.
Whatever my first instinct is, whatever my gut says, whether it's about hiring someone and how I connect with that person in the first 30 seconds of meeting them, can really make an impact on that decision, even though they are perfect score in their SATs or high graduate or have been working in McKinsey or Bain or some other big consulting firm. What it really comes down to is how I feel in that initiatory moment of when we meet. Or, for instance, entering a new market. I've read a lot around different areas, so subconsciously, we as humans, we kind of shortcut to what we already know. We've already integrated it from facts, from our experiences. So it's not to say that it's just a blind, yes, we'll do this, or no, we won't do that, but rather our intuition is already so intelligent because of everything we've absorbed from our experiences that usually that is the best case. But always fact-checking it after to make sure that, yes, indeed, that is what we should go for or not go for.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that answers that.
All right, yeah, precisely. How do you handle expectations, on one hand from others, and on the other hand from yourself?
I think the hardest one there is on self, handling expectations of self. That for me comes down to going back into myself. So my yoga practice and meditation is something that helps me handle or lose expectations of myself, because those expectations often limit us. When you have an expectation to reach here, what about here? Like, how can you go beyond it if you're only reaching to a certain point? And really trying to get away from like very specific material goals and rather having more of a vision for a grander happiness or a grander contentment, and not limiting yourself with a specific expectation. And that for me, getting around it is coming back to yoga and just getting super centered in what is really mattering here. As for expectations for others, it's a little bit easier in the sense that it's not always around you chattering, whereas your internal expectations are. But for others, it's about really realizing this is my path, and it doesn't need to look like yours or look like yours. And you don't necessarily need to understand my path, and getting really certain on that this is not, your path is not mine, and that's okay. Whether it's, parents or friends or competitors or whomever, it's being able to come back into a real knowing that your journey is yours and yours only, and it has nothing to do with anybody else. I mean, we're brought here alone and we die alone, and that path and journey, of course, we're impacted, but it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of it.
Okay. Good. Which priority has personal development for you?
My go-to, where I always come back, and I think it's a lifelong journey, is self-love.
Okay.
Self-love in all its aspects. From loving the physical self, the emotional self, and even finding love for your shadow self. And what I mean by shadow self is your dark parts. The parts that you don't talk about openly with people you don't know very well, and maybe you never even talk openly about them. Maybe you're not even fully aware of them because you avoid them. So whether that's deep anger or sadness or habits, and really coming to terms with the dark and the light are the whole, and being able to love the entirety of yourself without judging and stripping away even the negative parts, but rather having compassion for them and understanding them, I think is so important. So for me, that's a big part of my self-development now, is focusing on that dark side, the shadow side, the parts I don't feel super comfortable with, in order to feel more whole and comfortable in all aspects of myself, and being okay with that.
Which is, or do you have the one goal that you want to achieve in your lifetime?
The one goal.
Or is there a goal?
I can't say I have a specific goal. I mean, I always like to move forward, but I've never been one that says, by this time I'm going to do this, and by this time I'm going to do this. And I think that's good because it allows the magic of life to really carry you.
Okay.
And like I said earlier about expectations, it's quite similar with goals. When you make and set an intention or a goal, that's fine and good, but always leave room for something better. Like, for example, if I'm trying to reach for a new position or job or salary or something like this, like maybe that salary isn't going to make me happy, but a lower salary with a much more freedom would. So when I think about like my one goal, I don't think specifically like that, but when I think about something I'm reaching for, I'll think this would be great, or something better. And adding that on, or something better, is something that I think is super important in life, is just allowing there to be opportunity to just come, as opposed to saying it has to be this way.
All right. Last but not least, last question.
Yeah.
Can you name me 3 things that make you happy?
Oh gosh. 3 things that make me happy. The ocean, number 1. You love the ocean too. Yeah, it's magic. I love it. Mostly being on a boat for me. I don't know, there's something about the peace and the energy that comes from the water. It's magic. Love, whether it's with family, friends, loved one, boyfriend, all of that. I think that makes me happy. And peace. Like when I have those moments of peace is when I feel really contented and happy. Yeah.
So it's ocean, love, and peace.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily in that order, but that's just how it came to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So that were all my questions.
Thank you.
So first of all, thank you very much for your time, Kate.
That was fun. Thank you
and
for having me.
for your answers as well.
Thank you, Timo.
All right. Good. This
Thanks.
is now recorded.